what Tulsi had that was not acceptable in the Democratic Party is that she's a tough cookie. And that's a type of thing that isn't really accepted in the overwoke liberal dynamic that dominates the Democratic Party today. She does look like a Republican. She sounds like a Republican. She looks like a Republican. So now she is a Republican, and here she is talking about it.
You know, I was a Democrat for over 20 years. Today's Democrat, thank you. Today's Democrat Party is completely unrecognizable, which points to the clear choice that we have in this election today. When you look at the party of Kamala Harris, for example, she is anti-freedom, she is pro-censorship, she is pro-open borders, and she is pro-war.
Now, all of that may be true, but you're not really doing anything to dispel that. You support very similar aspects. You just pretend like you do not. So on the one hand, you can be calling her out, and it's correct. But on the other hand, you're not exactly doing anything to dispel that you aren't that person too, especially when you are as knee-deep with the Israel lobby as you are. I mean, she looks at Shmuley just like RFK does. And again, it's all for a career. As you said, and what was the book was it Mark Lamont Hill?
Except for Palestine.
Except for Palestine.
Yeah.
Only in this case, it really is except for Palestine.
So what is she saying? I mean,
and others who care more about power and feeding the military-industrial complex than they care about you, the American people, and peace. President Trump has pledged to end wars, not start them. And this is why, in the eyes of the Kamala Harris, Dick Cheney Democrat Party, they will do everything possible to try to destroy him.
Throwing that Dick Cheney line in there is not going to help the Democrats. Not even a little bit. You asked for it, and now you've got it. And you know what?
They want to wear that. They'll wear that now. That is going to be pinned to them like stink they'll never get rid of. No,
and you know what? Win or lose, it should stick with them forever now.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I'm glad there's lots of photos and all that stuff. I am glad.
You'll see how they have weaponized the federal government. They have weaponized law enforcement, the Department of Justice. Now, to those of you here or those watching at home who are independent-minded people like myself, who love our country and are committed to the Constitution and to freedom, the Democrat Party has no home for people like us. But we do have a home in the Republican Party where we are welcomed with open arms by President Trump and so many of you who love our country. And it is because of my love for our country, and specifically because of the leadership that President Trump has brought to transform the Republican Party and bring it back to the party of the people and the party of peace, that I'm proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party.
Really incredible.
I actually thought that was him. I actually thought that was him because I wasn't looking. I thought he said that.
And the truth is, if you're trying to just sell on style points, that sells a hell of a lot better as a disaffected Democrat versus a disaffected Republican like Dick Cheney. You want Dick Cheney? We'll take Tulsi Gabbard. And you know what? If you're putting that side by side in terms of who's going to convert more independent voters, there's no question that Tulsi Gabbard is going to win you a hell of a lot more votes. And I do believe without question that if Trump does win, Tulsi Gabbard will run for president in 28.
And I think she's very likely to get a position. She's very likely to get a cabinet position. I could see her being Secretary of State.
You can also tell, which is not fake. You can tell that there's amount of respect that Trump has for Tulsi and RFK. Like you can sense that he appreciates them.
And I've said it before. I'd rather her, and as much as I have issues with Tulsi, I find her capable and competent. And I also think she's somebody that would be respected in a diplomatic capacity, infinitely more than whoever Kamala would appoint. So again, I'm not a Tulsi person.
Neither am I. I appreciate, like I said, I've always respected her because she served our country, especially serving as a medic in combat zones. I mean, that's really gutsy shit that she has done. I think she carries herself extremely well. And if we are going to have a Madam Vice President, it's going to be somebody like her, not somebody like Kamala.
And you know what? This is an interesting thing. There is no purpose. That is exactly.
It really doesn't stand. They don't stand for anything anymore.
Nothing. They stand for absolutely nothing. They stand for Orange Man bad.